Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing the complete financial update. It has been officially just over 2 months since I had my last day at my 9-to-5 job, so I thought it would be a great time to share how things have changed for us financially since then, how our budgets changed, our net worth, what money we have made since I left my job. So this video is going to cover all of that over the last 2 months. So I left my job on July 23rd, and then I went on a week-long trip that I already had pre-planned and for the most part paid for before I left my job. And it is now October 8th, so we have passed 2 full months, August and September, to look at to kind of see how things have changed. I'm going to be starting with looking at my average spending from January through June, since that's like 6 months that were very normal in terms of spending based off of my salary that I had before. Then I'll tell you guys what our net worth was at the end of July when I left my job, as well as go through our spending, income, budget, and net worth for August and September separately. If you want to know a little bit more about what our finances looked like before I left and kind of a deeper dive into that, I have a video on my channel, I'll link it right here, that shows our financial situation, how we prepared before I quit my 9-to-5 job, what my salary was at my 9-to-5 job, and all of that. And then lastly, I will be covering what money I made from my first month being monetized here on YouTube. I pretty much got monetized like the 1st of September or the 2nd of September. So I have the entire report from September of how much money I made. So I'll be sharing that with you guys as well. So here I have my Wine app pulled up. This is a budgeting app that I talked a little bit more about in my last video, but this is what we use to track all of our expenses, etc. So I'm going to start by going into reports and showing you guys what our spending was like from January to June of 2021. Here I'm showing all categories, and you can see that our average spending was $4.6 thousand. So we were on average spending $4,600 each month. Now we're going to go over to net worth, and I will show you guys what our net worth looked like at the end of July 2021. So at the end of July 2021, we had $1,000 in credit card debt, as well as $28,500 in assets, which included all of our accounts. So our checkings account, savings account, investment accounts, as well as my 401k. So our net worth then was $27.5 thousand. Now I'm going to take out our tracking accounts, so the investment funds as well as the 401k, so you can see what that looked like. So here you can see same amount of debt, but our assets were only $13,000, so we ended with a net worth of $12.1 thousand. So that is what our net worth looked like the month that I left my job, and I didn't make any more money from my 9-to-5 job after July. So this was the last month where I had any paycheck related to my 9-to-5 job. So next, what we are going to look at is our spending for the month of August. So the first month where I was unemployed or I'd quit my 9-to-5 job, what did our spending look like? So if you remember, like I said, our average spending before was $4.6 thousand per month. So the first month that I had left my 9-to-5 job, our average spending was $3.8 thousand. Definitely a reduction from our average spending, but we'll get a better look at why it was this high or what I exactly spent money on once I go through the budget section for the month of August. The next thing I want to show you guys is our income for the month of August. So if we go over here to income versus expenses, we can see that our total expenses again are shown here, $3.8 thousand, and our income for the month is shown here at the top. We only made $539 in the month of August. You'll see that $168 was from me shopping for Instacart, and that was across 2 specific Instacart sessions, as well as Oliver making money from Scribe America, which is the company that he works for. He started going back to work in the month of August, and he made $371 for the month of August. So he didn't really work a lot. He's back to working kind of part-time, but as you can see, it's not like an insane amount of money. Definitely is not supplementing for my old salaried income or anything like that. But we did make $539 for the month of August. So the next thing we're going to look at is the August budget. And I think this is kind of the best way to get a comprehensive look of what happened over the month. The way that YNAB works, the top here shows money that is categorized to pay off your credit card, which basically is set aside for payment from the categories below. So really, because we're all in the green here, these all were equal to what the actual charges were for that month. So they're all accounted for below. So you can kind of ignore this part because this is really just a payment of how much I need to pay off on the credit cards. And we use our credit cards to charge everything and then pay it off so that we get rewards. So if we jump down to immediate obligations, you will see that I spent $1,655 on rent, which is how much we pay each month for rent. We spent $90 on utilities, $10 on renter's insurance, $40 on internet, $376 on groceries, $53 on gas, $453 on car insurance because our car insurance was charged in the month of August for the next 6 months, $100 on transportation, which was mainly paying for my bike share membership that I signed up for in the month of August at the beginning of the month, as well as dollar charges for any e-bikes that I used during that. Then you can see I spent $126 on clothes, $10 on stuff for Boba, being Boba my cat, not Boba as in bubble tea, $41 on books, $93 on car maintenance, $21 on home items, $41 on personal care items, $38 for Compassion International, $3 for iCloud storage, $366 on dining out, $22 on couponing, $9 for fun money, $36 on something Oliver bought for himself, $60 for vacation, $15 for accessories for my phone, $450 for TubeBuddy, $40 for gifts that I spent for a client of mine, $45 for program tuition for a program I signed up for, and $47 for items I bought to better do Instacart. So as you can see, there was quite a bit of spending in August, and when I go over the September spending, I will pretty much skip over any of the expenses that stay the same each month, like rent and renter's insurance, internet, stuff like that, but you'll get a better feel for how things changed. But $3,800 is way too much money. If you watch my last video, that I think around $2,500 was how much that we would basically need to be spending each month to basically make ends meet if we only bought the bare minimum. So I really spent like $1,300 more than that this month. So I'm not really loving that. And the last thing we're gonna look at before we move on to September is our net worth at the end of August. So we are going to look at July to August now to see how our net worth changed. As you can probably imagine, based off of the amount of money we made and the amount we spent, our net worth went down quite a lot. It went down $3,261. And this is again excluding the investment accounts and the 401k account because that is only going to be fluctuating based off of market changes. So I'm going to leave that out from now on because we did not dip into those accounts at all during this 2-month period. We went down negative 27% of our net worth. So that would mean that if I continued that rate of spending and the amount that we were making, we would only have 3 months left after this before we would be completely out of money and have to start dipping into our investment accounts. So this is really not ideal. You can see our net worth at the end of August was $8.8 thousand. So I was very aware of this because I budget each week. I check in on the budget on my computer. I do update the budget throughout the week, like every day, but each week I take a moment to fully look at the budget on my computer, get a feel for what's going on. And I was very aware that like things were not going well. I was definitely in a mode of emotions. The month after I left my job, I was really used to spending a lot of money, $4.6K on average, and it was really hard for me, specifically me, not as much Oliver, to basically adjust my lifestyle to match now the fact that I was not making as much money as I was. I felt like when September came, I was way more aware and I really tried to do better. I have not specifically looked at September as a whole, how I just showed you August, so I'm very curious to see what the numbers actually play out to be and if I actually did adjust and make a good change. So let's jump right into September now. The first thing we're going to look at is our September spending. As a reminder, 3.8K was our August spending. September, 2.9K. Wow. Okay, so I did actually adjust. So we spent like $900 less in September than we did in August, which is awesome. And if you think of that, we used to spend 4.6K per month. This month we spent 2.9K. That's almost $2,000 less. That's pretty crazy. I'm pretty proud of that, I gotta be honest. So again, we'll look at the budget in a minute to get a feel for what we actually spent money on over our required spending, because as I said, 2.5K in my opinion, after looking at our budget, is like the bare minimum we need to make to pay off everything that we have expensed each month. That is a legit necessity. So we obviously spent about $430 on things that are not necessities, give or take, so we'll check that out in a minute. But the next thing I'm going to show you guys is our income for September. So for September, we made a lot more money than we did in August. So in August, again, we made like $530. In September, we made $1.7 thousand, and I will quickly break that down and tell you what that all came from. I made $83 from Instacart. I only did Instacart for one day in September. Not the best, but I was in Florida for like 9 days of this month. So that's another thing to note, that this month was during a vacation where we were gone for 9 days and we still spent that much less than the month before. So that's pretty great in my opinion. Then I made $456 doing Rover cat sitting, which is really, really good. I am super happy with that. I can't believe that I actually made $450 on the first month that I had any cat sitting jobs. I had that many jobs where I made $450. Oliver got paid 2 paychecks in September, one for $490 and one for $620. So he made a lot more money in September than he did in August because he kind of picked up some more shifts and worked a little bit more. And if I haven't mentioned this before, he gets paid like $15 an hour if he's doing a normal shift and $16 an hour if he's doing a training shift, which he hasn't been training since he went back to work part-time. So this is all from $15 per hour shifts. And then the last thing you see on here is Venmo for $83. Basically what this was Oliver had about $83 sitting in his Venmo account, and my checking account was depleting hardcore, and I wasn't able to pay all of our bills with the money that was in my checking account. So I asked Oliver to transfer over some money to me through Venmo, and he realized he had $83 sitting in his account. So in a sense, you could subtract $83 from this and say we really made like $16.50 this month in terms of income, because this $83 he'd had for a really long time. He just never transferred it out of his Venmo account. So now we will look at the September budget and see what that looked like and what we exactly spent money on. So again, we'll skip the credit card payments part. If you look at immediate obligations, you can see rent was the same. We spent a tiny bit more on utilities at $100. Renter's insurance, internet the same. We spent $320 on groceries, which seems to be a little bit less than what we spent last month. We spent $100 on gas, so we spent twice as much money on gas than we did in August, but it makes a lot of sense because I was doing cat sitting as well as Instacart, so I did a lot more driving than I normally do, as well as Oliver working more shifts at work than he did the month before. So of course our gas is going to be higher, and that's kind of like a new expense for us because I had been working at home and really rarely ever using the car. We spent $97 on quote unquote car fees, which really was a ticket that we got for not having our license plate on the front of our car. We only had the one on the back because we had like the wrong screws to put it on the front grille of our car. So we got fined a $50 ticket, which is very unfortunate. And then $47 for me to get my new license because my license was about to expire. So actually, if you think about it, in terms of the like $450 I said that we overspent this month, $100 of that was actually like car fees, so that's not too bad. We spent $1 on transportation, $190 on medical, and that's pretty much the rest of the overspending that we did for September now that I think about it. But basically what that is for CBD oil that I purchased. I'll be talking more about that in my burnout update video and why I've been using CBD oil and how it's really, really helped my stress levels and helped my sleeping. So make sure to look out for that video. But I did buy like a few months supply because I don't take it every single night, hence the large charge for medical. Then Compassion is the same. Dining out, we spent $300 this month, so less than we spent in August, and we were on a trip, which usually really hikes up our dining out costs. So a lot of that money was actually probably spent in the last week of the month. So $300 really is not terrible. $7.50 on couponing, $43 on accessory items for my different things I'm doing for Instacart, Rover, whatever. $4.50 for TubeBuddy, monthly, and $30 on software, which was the cost of my domain that gets charged once a year, and I didn't even realize it was renewing this year. And it's funny that I purchased that domain a whole year ago now, and now I'm actually going to be using it, so that's pretty cool. But if you look at that, it's pretty clear that like the accessories and software, which will actually be business expenses and subtracted from my income for this month, as well as the $200 for the CBD oil and the $100 in car fees, is really what brought us over our $2,500 mark. So not too bad. But the interesting thing I wanted to show you guys for this budget was, if you look at our quality of life goals, you can see that a lot of money was subtracted from these categories. And basically we had to take the money that we had set aside for these specific categories and move them to cover actual expenses for the month, which is basically something I obviously knew we would have to do, because the way I budget is I give every single dollar a job. So the money we had before, the $13,000 in net worth that we had, was all accounted for and given a job in our budget. Now we're having to subtract from those categories and give those dollars different jobs for our immediate expenses we have right now. Basically, we're dipping into our savings. Long story short, pretty simple if you just say it like that. But yeah, that's why all of these have moved down so much. And you'll see in next month, once I do another update in the future, that I've had to continue doing this and moving these numbers and making them lower, because we've had to use this money for our immediate obligations and things we're spending money on right now. So we will end September by looking at our net worth. So we are going to add September into our comparison, and you will see here that it still dipped down, but not as much as it dipped down the month before. So for September, our net worth is $7.6 thousand. So you'll see we went down a little over $3,000 from July to August. Then we only went down about $1.2 thousand from August to September. So as I said before, July to August was a 25% decrease in our net worth. And if we look at August to September, it was only a 13.5% decrease. So we almost cut down our difference in net worth in half. So now it only went down 13.5%. So what that means now is that if we continued on this trend, we would still have multiple months. If we kept making the money we're making right now, and we kept spending the money we're spending right now, we will continue being able to stay afloat and use the actual cash we have for, if I'm doing the math right in my head, I think 7 more months, which is pretty crazy, which makes sense because if you look, we have a $1.2 thousand change in net worth and we have $7.6 thousand left. So if you take 7.6 divided by 1.2, you get 6.25. So really we have about 6 months left where we would not be dipping into any of our other investments, etc., which is a really good place to be and way better than it was in August. And the great thing is, considering the jump in income and the reduction in expenses that we had in September, I'm really hoping that our income jumps even more in October and our expenses decrease even more, which would mean that our change in net worth will be a smaller amount between September and October. But we will kind of see how that all plays out and see how it goes, but I'm very optimistic. So the thing I want to close with here in this video is the biggest change that I have made after looking over this information and really understanding where we're at. And that is that if I want to stop dipping into our savings and the money that we currently have and have this change in net worth number go down, the biggest change that I can currently make would be to increase our income, because we're currently really not making that much money. Like I said, $1.7 thousand is not a lot of money for DC for 1 month for 2 people. So one of the main ways that hopefully our income will increase in October is, like I said at the beginning of this video, I got monetized on YouTube, and September was the first full month that I made money from my channel. So I'm going to jump into my analytics and give you guys a quick look at how much money I made for the month of September. So if we jump over to analytics and we go to revenue and we change the date range to just September, you will see that in September I made $147 from my YouTube channel, which is really awesome. And that is all thanks to you guys for watching all of my videos, for liking, subscribing, commenting, sharing them with people. I appreciate you all so much. And this number, even though it might be small for an entire month of videos, and if you look, I posted 8 videos in the month of September and I made $147. For me, that's huge because I was making no money in the month of August. So I am so happy about this and cannot believe that I am actually making a little bit of money from this channel. So aside from that, I am trying to take on more cat sitting jobs jobs, and I'm already on track to make more money with Rover than I did last month. So that will definitely be an increase in my income for the month of October. But one thing, if you noticed, is that I only did 2 days of Instacart in August and only 1 day in September. That is not a lot of days. And considering I can make $80 to $100 in like a 4 to 5 hour session on Instacart in a day, I just added some more days of Instacart. It would highly, highly increase our income for the month. So what I decided to do was create this little spreadsheet on Notion, which if you look here, it says that we need $2,500 per month post-tax. Basically how this works is you start all the way over here. If you start right here, you will see Oliver's income post-tax. So this is the estimated amount of money Oliver is going to make for the month of October, looking at just the shifts that he is currently scheduled for in October. Then I subtracted 20% off of that to account for the taxes that will be taken out, and we are looking at about $1,200 for October. Then I did $2,500 minus $1,200 to get this $1,300 post-tax amount of income that I would need to make to supplement Oliver's income and break even for the month. Then, since all of the money that I'm making is not pre-taxed, I added in another column that shows how much money I need to be making pre-tax to get the post-tax amount of $1,300. What I did to get this number is I accounted for taking 20% out of my income for taxes. Now, taxes are going to be more than 20%, but what I do know is that I do have things that I'm going to be expensing. I'm going to have tax write-offs. So right now I'm assuming 20% of my income will go to taxes after my write-offs and my deductions. I should probably be planning for more like 25% because it's better to be safe, but since we have a sizable amount of money still saved up, I think that this is totally doable. And once I feel like I'm making more each month, I might up that percentage. I mean, eventually I don't want to be breaking even anyways, right? The goal is to be able to save money each month and to not have to feel like I can only spend money on these exact necessity items and never buy anything at all that's like a non-necessity. So for now, this is what I'm looking at. These formulas can totally be changed in the future, and this number might be changed in the future that I'm aiming for, but right now I'm just aiming to break even. So if we take that pre-tax number of $1,625 and then we look at YouTube income for the month of September, since that's not paid out until literally one whole month later, I won't get the money until late October. I have $170 written here. And the reason for that is that I've had this YouTube channel since I was a freshman in college, and I posted like one video a year back then. And back then the monetization requirements for YouTube were a lot different, and I was able to just post a video and then get monetized, put ads on it immediately. So there was a video I had posted. It was a dorm tour video. You can still see it on my channel. I have it public still just because I think it's funny to see how old the video is. And it has like 86,000 views. And YouTube only will pay you out for the month if you make over $100. So back then, freshman year of college, I made $125 about from that video. So the $25 didn't come until the second month. So I got paid out initially, however much, something over $100. And then the next month after the video was published, I only made $25 from the video. That money has been sitting in my YouTube account ever since because I've never made money from YouTube again because they changed their monetization requirements. So now I will be getting paid out the $25 plus the $140, whatever it was, that I got from my channel today that I made in September. So that is why I have $170 here, long story short. Then for Rover, I currently am projected to make $540 from Rover. And I actually have a few other jobs that I've been contacted about, so I might end up actually making more money from Rover. But as of today, for the jobs that I have scheduled for the month, I am going to be making $540. So these two numbers are then added together, they are subtracted from this number, and then they are divided by $100 per session, assuming that that's how much I would make doing Instacart, to give me the number of sessions I would need to make to break even for the month. So currently, with the amount of money that I know I'm making from Rover, I need to be doing 10 Instacart sessions. So that is the other thing I've done to kind of plan for the future and hopefully break even this month. But I've not done any Instacart sessions yet, and it is October 8th. So that is just awesome. So, you know, the more cat sitting jobs that I get throughout the month, the less Instacart sessions I need to do. Also, if I have any new coaching clients that I take on and I get paid for those, then I will then reduce the number of Instacart sessions I need to do for the month as well. But this is where we're at right now. I really am happy I made this quick spreadsheet so I can kind of get a feel for how much I actually need to shop for Instacart, because that is like my least favorite thing to do. It is very lucrative and it's very easy since there's no specific schedule, but it's something that is very exhausting and it takes up a lot of time. I'm sweating a lot. I'm like dead tired after my feet hurt. It's a long day, especially if you shop at Costco, which is how you make the most money. You're carrying super heavy items and you're just rushing around all day. The less days that I have to do Instacart, the better. So I really wanted to look at how many days I actually have to do it. So that is all I have for you guys for this video. I hope it was helpful for you and gave you a look at kind of where I'm at now and how easy it is to really make money doing random things here and there. Obviously, I'm aware that Oliver's making $1,200, but the thing to remember is that our expenses are the way that they are because there is two of us. We spend a lot more money on eating out, on groceries, on gas, a lot of things because there's two of us. So if you do live alone, most likely your rent might be lower than ours. Our rent is also high because we live in a larger apartment since there is two of us. Or you might be able to downsize your apartment if you do live alone and you do have a high cost of living right now. Downsize your apartment to something smaller if you live by yourself. For us right now, that is just not really what we want to do. And we have a great deal in our apartment right now. And it's actually because we had prepaid a lot of rent in the past, which is why our rent cost is actually as low as it is. Our rent really on paper is more like $1,900 a month. If you can reduce your rent cost and if you have lower amounts for your groceries, for your gas, for your eating out expenses, or completely cut eating out of your budget, like $300 a month is a lot of money that we're spending on eating out. That's 3 days of Instacart just to eat out during the month. That's what I consider such a positive of not having all of this excess money. I'm so much more aware of what the money that I'm using is actually going to and what it costs in terms of my time, my energy. Ideally in the future, I don't want to be trading time for money, like that's the goal. But right now that's just the inevitable and it's really helping me to have a better relationship with money and with my budget. I don't know if it's actually worth it to me to do Instacart for an entire day and be exhausted just to be able to eat out like once or twice in the month. But yeah, that is all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you enjoyed this concept for this video and you want to see future updates about our financial situation, please let me know in the comments down below because I enjoy making these videos, but if you guys don't enjoy them, like don't need to make them, you know? So if you loved it, let me know. I'm happy to continue sharing all of this information with you. I love to be an open book about this stuff. I think it's so important to share and basically give people a feel for what it's like if you leave your job. So if you have any questions about any of the things I talked about, definitely let me know. DM me over on Instagram and we can talk more about it. But other than that, I will see you guys on Thursday with another video. Bye.